All right, so in this video, I want to talk about degrees of freedom because I've seen that come up a few times. So degrees of freedom is how many degrees of freedom, wow, can an object or an item move in Inventor? Move, I went all cow right there. So if an object isn't constrained, it's not suppressed or grounded or whatnot, it has 6 degrees of freedom. So it can move in the X, the Y, the Z directions. That's 3. You can also rotate about the X, the Y, the Z. So that's 3 more. So if it's not grounded, if it's not constrained, it has 6 degrees of freedom, and I'll show you that. So this box right here is not constrained in any way. So to find out the degrees of freedom that it has, if I right click on it and I go down to where you see eye properties, and then look in the tabs up here, go to the occurrence tab. You're gonna click on degrees of freedom, check it, then hit apply. So you can kind of see that this shows you the degrees of freedom. So it can move in the X, the Y, the Z, and it also has these rotation kind of curves. So there's 3 more. So that's a total of 6. Now, if I was to ground this piece, so if I right click and I ground it, notice my degrees of freedom, they disappear because there is no more degrees of freedom. It can't move. It can't move anywhere. So that's why you don't see anything. So also, for example, let's say that we constrain this kind of L-shaped piece to this block wall. So if I go to constrain, well, first of all, let me just prove that this thing has 6 degrees of freedom as well, because it's not constrained in any way. So if I right click it and I go to eye properties, click on occurrence, I'm gonna check the degrees of freedom. I don't know why that's checked. Let me uncheck that. So I checked degrees of freedom. I'm gonna hit apply. So you see that there's those 6 degrees of freedom show up. So what I want to do now is I'm going to constrain this. Let's do it this way. So I'm going to constrain the back of this L-shaped looking piece here to the front of this wall, let's say. Notice now when I did that, now it only has 3 degrees of freedom left. So I can move it up. Let me hit apply here. So I can move it up and down. I can move it, left and right. I could rotate it also around this kind of around the x-axis here if I wanted to. So it shows you it has 1, 2, 3 degrees of freedom still left. So that's kind of how you tell, how many degrees of freedom an item has. You just right click on it, eye properties, click on the occurrence tab, check the, I lost my train of thought. Check the degrees of freedom, yeah, and then it'll show you the little icons that'll show you what degrees of freedom are left on that particular item. All right, so I hope that helps. All right, peace out.